Everything in computer is in the form of file, and we are storing information in different types of files. An operating system which should support or which supports the networking in computers, that is networking operating system. If there are any files stored in a computer, it can have different attributes, whether read attribute, write attribute, or read and write both the attributes. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Students, let us start our discussion with utility software. So, in this session, we are going to talk about utility software, along with that functions of operating system and user interface. Now let us see the definition of utilities or utility software. This is another type of system software. So utilities are those helpful programs that assist the computer by performing useful functions like backing up disk, scanning, cleaning virus, and so on. See, what are utility software? It is a type of system software, and they are helping the users or the computer with different programs like performing useful functions like backing up disk. It is a backing up is a process or it is a function, and scanning of computer hard disk, that is another type of function. Cleaning, that is for cleaning viruses, and arranging information in computer memory. These are all the function of utility software. Some examples are text editor. You know, text editor, it is a type of utility software, and backup utility. So here, backup, you know what is a backup? To keep track of or to store the day-to-day activities in particular location or in external disk. That is backup utility. And compression utility. You know what is a compression? Example for this is nowadays we are using WinRAR. That is an application where we are going to compress file size. So it's going to reduce the size of the file. These type of software are nothing but utility software. It is going to compress the file. And disk defragmentation. Disk defragmentation, it is going to arrange the data in a hard disk proper way. That is disk defragmentation or fragmenter and antivirus software. This is another type of utility software. Now let us move on to next slide. Now let us see another definitions. One is linkers. So what are linker? It is a system software. Linker is a type of system software which links the modules of the programs or program segments together so that they can be executed properly with proper reference. So what is the meaning of this? Now if we talk about a computer program, the computer program, it consists of so many modules. So modules are programming construct and so many programming codes. So it is going to combine or link different modules and different programming segments together for the proper execution of the program. That is the function of linkers. Next one is called loaders. What are loaders? See, the loader is a system software which accepts the object program produced by the compiler. Now we have seen in our previous session, compiler is going to generate one machine level language code, that is object code. So it is going to accept the object code by the compiler or assembler and prepares these programs for execution. So this is the function of loaders. Now let us move on to next slide. Now let us see the functions of operating system. We have learned the definition of operating system. It is an interface between the user and the computer. Now let us see the few functions of operating system. First one is memory management. So what is the computer memory management? It includes allocate memory, allocate memory, deallocate memory, deallocate memory, and keep track of memory, keep track of memory. These are the few functions involving in memory management. Now you know what is the computer memory. We use to store information. So if at all if you want to store information in the form of file, the memory has to allocate space for particular file in a computer memory. That is one of the responsibility. Next one is deallocate memory, means once the files or program which has been deleted from the computer memory, that memory has to be deallocated. And again, keep track of memory. Now you know this is, you might have come across these examples whenever if you want to try to copy information maybe from pen drive to your hard disk or from hard disk to your pen drive, you may get a message that it is insufficient memory. So in that case, that is a function of operating system. So it is going to keep track of the memory. It says whether memory is full or what is the space available in the computer memory. These are all few responsibilities of operating systems under memory management. Now let us move on to next one. Next one is process management. Actually, what is a process? In computers, it is defined as program in execution. Suppose any program is executing by the computer, that is called one process. For example, you are giving a print job. Suppose you have given a printout. Suppose if it take 5 minutes to take number of copies of a printout, that is one process. And copying a file from one place to another location, that is a process. So the process is nothing but it is a function or program in execution. Now, what is the meaning of process management? It's going to control access to shared resources like file, memory, and I/O and CPU. So I/O stands for input and output devices. So operating system is going to control the access to input device, output device, memory. So that is one of the responsibility. Next one is control execution of application. What is the meaning of execution of application? If you try to execute any of the application or the file, so it is controlled by this operating system. Next one is create, execute, and delete process. What is the meaning of process? We have seen the definition here itself. If any process is executing, so at any point of time, it can be delete, stop, or create the function. That is another responsibility of operating system. So here, cancel or resume process. This one also you might have come across while working on computer systems. Sometimes when you are working with different softwares or any applications, you may get a window or a message saying that to cancel or resume. This is another responsibility or function of operating system. Next one is schedule a process. Scheduling a process. For example, we can schedule or shut down the computer system. That is a process. So these are all the things can be done with the help of operating system. Next one is device management. If I talk about device management, it is input device, output device, or memory devices. So it is going to open, close, and write devices, device drivers, and communicate and control and monitor the device drivers. So every hardware must be associated with the software that is called driver software. So here is going to open and close. Suppose if I want to write anything to a hard disk or enter the computer memory, that particular device has to be opened for, or we have to keep it ready for writing information. That is open. And once the writing work is completed, we have to close that operation or close that process by using close function. So opening, closing, and writing devices, drivers, all these are function of operating system, that is device management. Next one is file management. Now what is the file management? You know what is a file. File is the basic unit of computer system or memory in computer system. Now everything in computer is in the form of file, and we are storing information in different types of files. So here, first of all, create and delete both files and directories. Now you know what is a file and how do we are going to store the information in computer nowadays. We are using folder and subfolders, so on. So here the folders and subfolders are called directories. So it is possible to store information in directories or even in subdirectory. So this is file management. And again, it provides access to files. Suppose if you want to open any of the particular file saved in computer memory, so this operating system, it gives access permission to open the particular file and allocate space for a file, and again keep backup of the files and secure files. Is going to protect the files in the hard disk or in the computer memory. This is the responsibility of operating system. Next one is protection and security. So another important function of operating system is this, and here we are going to protect our hardware resources or software resources with the help of user authentication and file attributes like read, write, and encryption and backup of data. All these are different methods of security or securing our files. So here, what is authentication? Your username and password to getting into a system is a type of authentication. If you are using a laptop, any desktop, most of you are using username or a password to get into or enter into a computer system. That is a type of security. And again, file attributes. If there are any files stored in a computer, it can have different attributes, whether read attribute, write attribute, or read and write both the attributes. So that is a type of permission or security to a particular file in computer memory. Similarly, encryption. So this is encryption for the sake of security, and again, backup of data. These are all few functions of operating system. Now let us see the different types of operating system. What are different types of operating system? Here one is single user operating system. And what is single user operating system? Here, very good example is we are using PCs, nowadays the PC and even laptop or single user system. What is the meaning of this? And here, only one person can use it at a time, and that is because of operating system. So operating system, it supports only one user at a time, that is single user operating system. Next one is batch operating system. So here it is a type of operating system where all the commands in a batch are executed continuously till it completes the batch or the complete all the instructions of that particular batch. The meaning here is the batch is nothing but if we are going to create a file, it's called batch file. In that particular file, we are going to write different commands or instructions for any particular application or any particular process. So we are going to run this batch file, and the operating system, it takes responsibility to complete the execution of all the instructions of that particular batch till it complete the process. That is a type of operating system. Next one is multi-programming, multitasking, multi-user, time sharing, and real-time. All these are different types of operating system, and technically there is a difference, but if you look at the definition or function, it looks alike. So for example, now let us see multi-programming operating system. So multi-programming means an operating system which supports or execute more than one program simultaneously at a time. That is the meaning of the multi-programming operating system. So here, whenever I'm going to talk about all these things, you have to keep in your mind. So your computer has the CPU. Inside CPU, we have many devices like control unit, ALU, and computer memory, and so on. So all these are shared by different users, different programs. That is the main theme behind these type of operating system. So here multi-programming operating system means if there are two programs are executing, running, so the computer, it gives the CPU time. We use the word CPU time to both the programs, that is program 1 and program 2, that is multi-programming operating system. Multitasking means, you know what is a task? Means we are doing more than one functions. Very good example is nowadays we are using laptops and we are working with the laptops with different applications, and simultaneously we used to listen to music. So here it is multitasking. So the operating system is multitasking operating system, and all these operating systems support different types of activities. Next one is multi-user operating system. what is multi-user operating system? Here, as we have seen in single-user operating system, only one person can use the operating system or computer at a time, but multi-user means is going to support more than one user to share a common resources or hardware and software computer system, that is multi-user operating system. Next one is time sharing system. Time sharing system. So here we say the CPU time. So the CPU time is shared by multi-users or multi-tasking and multi-programming operating system, that is time sharing system. Next one is real-time system. So real-time system, and this is a type of operating system. It supports real-time system. For example, very good example, there is a weather forecasting. So we are going to record the weather at every minute of a time. It has to run continuously. So that is real-time system. We'll get the data at that particular time. That is real-time system. These are all the different types of operating system. Next one is distributing operating system. So what is distributed operating system? Here the computer applications or resources are distributed by more than one CPU or more than one computer. For example, if there are 10 applications to be run or to be loaded in a computer, so for one computer to load 10 applications takes, so the performance of the particular system comes down, or it may not be more efficient. So to avoid that, what generally we do is, so we are going to share the, suppose if you have 10 applications to be loaded, so we are going to load in different computers. For example, in 3 computers, we are going to load 3 applications each, so that we are going to share the software resources of a computer. Similarly for hardware resources. In that way, the computer performance or efficiency will be increased. That is, and here in all the system, the user may not be knowing that, or he may not be noticed that the different types of operating system running in the computer. That is distributed operating system. Next one is network operating system. Means you know what is a computer network. So it is, we are going to connect different computers at different locations together for effective communication. So in that way, an operating system which should support or which supports the networking in computers, that is networking operating system. Next one is multi-threading operating system. So multi-threading is nothing but it is a concept of the sharing that same time or CPU time with multiple programs. That is the meaning of multi-threading operating system. These are all different types of operating system. Now let us move on to next slide. Next concept is user interface. Now we have seen the definition of operating system. It is an interface between the user and the computer or computer hardware. So here, if in operating system there are 2 types of interfaces. One is command line interface, or we say CUI, or graphical user interface. So it is GUI. These are 2 types of user interface where user can communicate with the computer system. Now let us see the first one, CUI interface, or what is CUI? CUI here, it stands for character user interface or command line user interface. And here it allows user to interact with the computer through text terminal. Here if I say text terminal, nothing but it must be, we say C prompt. You might have seen this in computer. This is called DOS prompt, we say, or C prompt. So this is the place where the user has to type in the commands at the terminal. This is CUI. Again, both input and output are character based. It is character based. So it is also known as character user interface, because at the terminal we are writing the program instructions or everything in the form of, or the input or output, everything in the form of characters. That is why it is referred as character user interface. And MS-DOS is an example for CUI. Example is MS-DOS. That is the Microsoft Disk Operating System is a type of operating system. It is command line user interface or command user interface or character user interface. This is a type of interface. Next one is GUI. It is called graphical user interface. So previous one it is CUI, now it is GUI, graphical user interface. So it's the interface where the commands are selected from menus and icons rather than typing them from the keyboard. As we have seen in the previous CUI, here the user has to work at the command prompt. The user has to type in the commands or instructions or data. So but here in GUI, the user is interacting with the computer in the form of icons. Now you know what are icons in nowadays. You are familiar with GUI, that is graphical user interface, that is Windows operating system. Whenever if you boot the computer, immediately Windows operating system is getting loaded, and this is GUI. And on desktop you can see different types of icons. So here user has to work with the icons and menus and so many features of operating system instead of typing the commands at the C prompt or at the terminal. That is GUI. It allows the user to click on the required icons with the help of handheld device like called mouse. Here it supports mouse. So nowadays we are using mouse. By using a mouse, we are going to select, we are going to open the file, any icons, we are going to execute different icons with the help of mouse. And Windows operating system is an example for GUI. So it is a famous or most popular operating system example for GUI. Nowadays we are familiar with the operating system Windows. Now you know how Windows work, where everything we use operating system with the input devices like mouse. So that is with the help of mouse, the user is interacting with the computer or the hardware. So it is an interface, that is GUI interface. Now let us see the difference between these two type of interfaces. One is CUI, GUI. In CUI, user must type the commands at the command prompt or C prompt to work with or interact with the computer. But here, as we have seen, the user must use mouse. By clicking the icons and menus and dialog boxes, he can work with the computer. This is one of the difference between these two. Second one is the user must remember the commands and their parameters. So here at the command prompt or the C prompt, where the user must type the commands. So for that the user must be knowing the language or must has remember different commands for different applications or different command for instructions. So that is he has to type at the command prompt. But here the user need not remember any commands because it is available in the form of menus and icons on the monitor. Because with the help of icons, it is easy for the user to work with the operating system rather than remembering different commands for different instructions. Next one is mouse operation is not available for DOS. It was not supporting mouse input device, and here mouse operation is required to select the commands in GUI. So in GUI it supports mouse, whereas CUI doesn't support the mouse. So these are the differences between the CUI and GUI. Students, in this session we have discussed about the functions of operating systems and also the user interface like CUI and GUI. Now we will continue our discussion with the concept in Unit 3. Thank you very much.